Good morning, Wrestling Inc. Get up, get going. Happy Friday. I hope you're ready for some fun. I hope you're ready for some pro wrestling punditry. It is me, your managing editor of WrestlingInc.com, Nick Hausman, joined here as I am every Friday by Christy Olson. Christy, welcome back to the Wrestling Inc. Daily.
Hello, Nick, and thank you for having me once again. Happy Friday to all of our Friday friends. Well, I guess they're our friends all week, but we have a special amount of fun on Fridays.
We do. Yes, you guys are here every week, guys, gals, everybody here every week, but especially on Fridays because Friday means fun. And there is mixed emotions in the air here today, as we will get into the news in just a moment, but a very exciting weekend here. AEW All Out on the horizon here. Rampage tonight. I will be at both. I will be in the in-person scrums on Sunday talking to, I don't know, maybe Triple H debuts for AEW on Sunday. Maybe I wind up talking to Hunter.
Don't plan too much for that one.
Okay.
But I think you may not be too far off as far as the surprises that we're going to get.
Okay. All right. Maybe not Hunter, but others. Okay. And on that note, here today, we have a great interview with Heels actor Alan Maldonado. Alan plays Rooster on Heels. One of my favorite characters. Really, really nice guy. Very, very talented. I can't wait to hear you guys talk to him about Punk and Stephen Amell. And, you know, now he's a trained wrestler. What do we think about maybe some Heels actors being in AEW, right? So hear from Alan. And we got two interviews for here today. A good friend of mine, Taylor Armstrong, fantastic Hollywood animator, graphics designer. He's working with Master Republic on a line of luchador-themed NFTs. And I finally had a reason to talk to somebody for 15 minutes about what is an NFT, why should I have an NFT, where does my NFT go, what are all these questions about NFTs? So you're going to get here from
things we're all wondering, Nick.
Right.
Every single one of us.
Right. Do I put it in my pocket? Can I hang it on the wall? What is an NFT? How do they work? I see Dave in here in the comment section saying, we want Hausman NFTs. You know, hey, look, maybe sooner than later. Sure, why not? So Alan Maldonado here from Heels, Taylor Armstrong talking NFTs, two big interviews. That'll be after the news. Both are going to debut back-to-back in video form over on the Wrestling Inc. YouTube channel, one at 1 p.m. Eastern, the other at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. Taylor will be going second, just like here on the show. So enjoy those. Both great conversations. At the end of the show for everybody, we'll dive to the mailbag. We're going to look at a potential Extreme Rules match between Nia Jax and Charlotte, which seems like a layup of this conversation. Can't
wait to talk about that.
Got way more response than I was expecting. And I put the poll question out. I was like, dude, you should have just asked everybody what AEW All Out match they're excited for. That's a layup, right? But anyway, a little off the beaten path here today.
Do that tomorrow.
And, of course, like I threw up Dave's comment here on the screen, we are live wherever you're watching us, Twitch, Periscope, YouTube. Jump in the comment section, share out the link, let other people know we're having a party here today. Your support is always welcome. All right. News you can use, news that'll leave a bruise. Some really bruising news to start with here. It was a really, really sad day for professional wrestling. And this one hit a little deeper than normal, so I threw it in the actual news block here today. So, of course, we want to send out our regards to the friends, fans, family of WCW and TNA star Daffney, Shannon Spirrell, who has reportedly passed away, or not reportedly, we can confirm she passed away at the age of 46. Her mother, Jean, issued the following statement. It is with great sadness. I have to let you know that my daughter, Shannon Spruill, Scream Queen Daff, passed away suddenly last night. Absolutely heartbroken. ROH and WWE also shared out statements, Ring of Honor, noting that Shannon had worked as the valet for CM Punk and Colt Cabana and Ace Steel with the Second City Saints back in the day. I had forgotten about this, but she was at Supercard of Honor in 2018 when Sumi Sakai won the belt. And I was there. I was at that title change, and I had totally forgotten about that. But as soon as I read that, it immediately flashed back to me. And that was definitely the last time I ever remember seeing Daffney live and in public. And I remember thinking how cool it was and like, wow, that's awesome. I love Daffney and had no idea she would be there. WWE focusing more on her time with WCW, how she was aligned with David Flair and Crowbar. She was also the second woman to hold the Cruiserweight Championship. And they said with her signature scream and ever-changing style, Daffney would go on to become a mainstay on the independent scene as well. PWInsider.com. Well, we'll get to this. This is kind of more news. Real quickly here. Christy, any thoughts on Daffney? And very, very unfortunate what happened here with Daffney.
Yeah, I always want to look at, what can we learn from this? How can we prevent it from happening again? And I want to encourage everybody out there who has grown up loving wrestling and loved hundreds of wrestling stars to make sure that they know that. Think about your favorite from back in the day. And instead of writing a tweet that says something negative about the current product, maybe go ahead and tweet out today about your favorite star from back in the day that we haven't heard from in a while. Someone who may need to be reminded that they're still loved. I can't help but think that if Daffney would have known how much people loved, remembered, revered her, that maybe things could have turned out differently for her. Perhaps that's why she reached out online. So I just really hope that we can all look to the future with this and think about what we can do, especially online, because this particular case has that, that happened here. Then looking at what we can do to prevent this from happening again.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that kind of tie into this. I echo everything, obviously, Christy said. And, also, if you are struggling, it is wonderful to hear from friends and family, but sometimes you just need somebody objectively to talk to. There's nothing wrong with going and talking to anybody. And I go once a week to get my brain scrubbed right now with BetterHelp.com. Promo code PW4L if you want to go get 15% off, which is nice. I've actually used that promo code. It was great. I got a little money off. But BetterHelp also really good with working with, and I feel like I'm doing a spot for them right now. But if you can't afford it or you don't have insurance, like the wonderful thing is they will work with you. So I really am an advocate for BetterHelp, not just because they're like, they sponsor Sean and I's show, but they sponsored the show because I said, please go get me BetterHelp. I want to talk about mental health awareness. So there's nothing wrong with therapy, and I encourage everyone to pursue that if you feel like you need somebody to talk to. So anyway, PWInsider.com on that note, saying hours after Daffney passed away, following this, I haven't watched it and I don't want to watch it and I'm not going to watch it, but there was a very traumatic Instagram live video she was doing where I didn't watch it, but I'm told that you could hear a gun in the background, and she had made a comment about how she wanted her brain to be sent to Boston to be studied as part of the Concussion Legacy Institute, which is all very, very sad. WWE issued a text message reminder to the roster that they do offer mental health counseling to those who want it, which I heard that. And, WWE, a lot of things you can say, but that is a nice thing that they did not have to do in a situation like this. And I felt was like, fine. I didn't have any issues with WWE reminding their talent that they can get access to mental health consultants if they need it, right?
No, and they always have quietly sent people to rehab who haven't worked there for many years. And, they have a scholarship program for former talent. And I believe that these things were in place. Of course, it doesn't hurt to remind people like, hey, use it. It's there.
Yeah. So the last kind of unfortunate story coming out of this, and I didn't even know if I wanted to get into this, but like it's so obviously news, and it's really, really unfortunate because today should be about Daffney, right?
Exactly.
First of all, which is why I think people are upset about this, and because he's such a prominent name, it's now like part of what is happening, and I feel like we have to talk about it. So
Agreed.
Carl Anderson, he trended worldwide after getting into it with several fans on Twitter over his response to WWE internally reminding their roster about mental health counseling after the passing of Daffney. He responded to a tweet on WWE reminding talent about the counseling and took a shot at his former employer, tweeting, "They suck, bro." Anderson deleted the original tweet, but then has doubled down and responding to screenshots of the deleted tweet. He added in a follow-up tweet, "Not deleted, don't care, they suck, see ya." He has also lashed out at several fans on Twitter who called him out for the WWE jab, calling them marks, blaming them for why he doesn't take photos with fans in public. He also challenged multiple fans to see him in public, tweeting tears of joy emoji. Yeah, wow, you marks are too easy. When you post up at a effing hotel begging for a pic or an autograph, let me know. One fan told Anderson to admit what he said was wrong. Stop arguing with fans. Stop calling them marks. Admit he messed up. He responded, tears of joy emoji. Y'all are too much. You're lucky I even write back on here. Let me say something to you loud and clear. F you, heart emoji. He also took a shot at NXT.
Because this is the perfect time to do that.
He took a shot at NXT saying, what happened to the Wednesday Night Wars? Tears of joy emoji. They gave up quick. And like, there's more. I just kind of stopped. Like, just get into it. People who are like, well, we're gonna write Anthem and be like, you should do something. Well, let me tell you, folks, Anthem, they're about as clean as a pig in mud, and there are worse things than this that I have heard. Anthem has looked the other way on. So Carl Anderson ain't going anywhere, at least in my opinion, not over an Impact. But like, what about AEW? Right? I mean, this was just really callous, in my opinion, right?
It was. And I didn't even think about the AEW thing. Tony Khan is always up on his high horse, and he needs to make sure that we do not see Carl Anderson on Sunday. You know, all the other people have been suspended for stuff and the grandiose statements he's made about who's not welcome there. I don't want to see Carl Anderson on Sunday. This is not a pro wrestling storyline. This is someone who lost a life. Why? What on earth would implore you to take this opportunity to rile the fans up a little, to get some heat? Like, are you joking? Yeah. What is wrong with this guy? Not the time, not the place. Read the room.
Oh my God. Yeah. And you know, the thing is, like with Anderson too, is I worry that there won't be any kind of repercussion here, because like he's always part of like the wolf pack, right? Where they come out like 7 at a time. So like they're already getting booed anyway because they're heels. Like, it's not like he's going to go out and have a singles match or a tag match at All Out, right?
True.
But I'm with you, Christy. Like I don't reward this guy with television time right now. To make this about wanting to get into it with fans and like about the Wednesday Night Wars, you've lost the plot just like so badly. And I mean, I mean, were you drinking, right? Like, just
that's exactly what I was just going to say. How many drinks in are you when you're hitting that tweet button?
Yeah. You know, a moppy here. Sometimes it's best just to keep your thoughts to yourself. You know, 100%. I forget who it was that we had on one of the recently released talents. We were talking about social media, and they were like, in our social media training, the first thing we're told is if you have to think about sending a tweet, don't send that tweet. I think it may have been Drew McIntyre actually who said that.
That's great advice.
Right? And that's something I've kind of been using more myself, where I'm like, do I want to send this? No, you do not want to send this. Like, if you haven't asked that question, okay, you're not sending that.
It's a no.
That's just good advice for everybody. It just really was very unfortunate. And I was very obviously disappointed that Carl did this. And for him to go in and take people who are grieving and upset by what he said and telling him to go F themselves. I mean, as a position of someone in power who people are like looking up to, and like, you know, maybe we're thinking better of you. I mean, now you're hurting people while we're having a discussion about mental health, and like the WWE's thing was like, hey, if you need help, we'll help you get it. And
right. And yeah, and what just kind of a sad attempt to jump on the CM Punk train of like crapping on WWE right now. Somehow he saw this as his opportunity to do that and thought they suck, bro, was the eloquent thing to put out there that was going to put himself over or whatever. I would love to know what he thought this was going to accomplish. Man, and I'm just reading the comments from all of our fans, and they are disgusted.
Yeah, people are not happy. I'm not throwing everything up, but I will say, MCASP, this is why I don't have any social media. It's too damn toxic. And, you know,
I commend you for that,
MCASP. Yeah, like you said earlier, Christy, you know, the social media component of that environment, it certainly is something to be addressed on top of all the other mini issues. So we'll put a button on the Daffney talk here for today, but, you know, use today, like I think Christy had good advice to celebrate those you love, remind them that you love them, and let's try to counter the negativity with some positivity out in the world today. So, all right. Good talk, everybody. Let's have some fun wrestling discussion now. All right. So the Observer, they are confirming what Cassidy Haynes over at bodyslam.net reported earlier this week. multiple AEW sources have said that Daniel Bryan, his debut is scheduled to go down this Sunday night at All Out. It was also noted that if Bryan does not debut on Sunday, it would be because of some kind of change in plans. So, Christy, what do you think of Bryan coming in, and what do you want to see him do? How do you bring him in? What's your gimmick?
Quick note on that report of like, here's what we know for sure is happening, but if that didn't happen, it's because their plans changed, not because my report was wrong. But moving on from my bulldozing that guy for the day.
Love it. Very good. Yeah, Daniel Price here. Classic Meltzer ambiguity. Okay. All right. Anyway, thoughts beyond the Meltzer?
Thoughts? Yeah. Either way, they've had such success with bringing CM Punk in, and I can only imagine that they're trying to recreate as much of that as possible on Sunday with Daniel Bryan. And they need something. They've been pulling these big stops out for Dynamite and Rampage, and now we've seen Punk a couple times, right? So Sunday, we need something fresh. We need a debut. And of course, Daniel Bryan's the one we're all expecting, the one everyone's going to go nuts for. If they can get a Daniel Bryan chant starting before he even comes out, just like last time with CM Punk, I mean, that's going to be genius. There's so much here. And I kind of like the idea that there is no story. We don't know what Daniel Bryan's attitude is coming in. We don't know who he's got it out for, who he really wants to go toe to toe with. And I find that exciting,
Yeah, I'm, as fascinated as anybody to see what they do with the guy. I know a lot of people want to see him and Punk. I think it's maybe a little early for me with that, right? I mean,
we're going to get Andrade.
You think Andrade?
I think
so. You think him and Andrade, that's how they bring him in? Mystery man to take on Andrade?
Yeah, I know that doesn't sound too exciting maybe, but I think with the way that they can do it now that Pac can't get there, and there's definitely a story that they can tell quickly day of to make that intriguing. And also, if people aren't, familiar enough with Andrade to know that would be an incredible match, it absolutely would possibly be the match of the night.
And I agree with that, right? I just wonder, can you do Daniel Bryan in the middle of the show? In my head, I feel like you risk blowing the crowd out if you don't put him somewhere towards the very end, right? I don't know, I mean, do you think, I don't know, I haven't seen anything about this, but do you think Omega Christian closes, or do you think Punk Darby Allin closes?
I have been wondering that. I mean, it's got to be Punk and Darby Allin after all the hoopla the last couple of weeks, right? But at the same time, the whole idea of so-and-so being in the main event the last few years and what is the main event has kind of gone out the window now that we have more than one marquee match on a card. They can really use it to play with, like you're saying, building up that Daniel Bryan. I'm sorry, I always think of him as Total Bellas.
Yeah.
Bryan, Daniel.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah.
I in my head, I think Punk Allen makes the most sense to me now. I think about what Kenny Omega did at Triple Mania. His and Andrade's title match was not the main event. Psycho Clown won the main event, and they used that as a chance to set up Psycho Clown as the next big competitor for Kenny Omega. Neither here nor there. But I think that Allen Punk closed, and if you do that, closing the night with some kind of Punk Bryan moment in the ring, whether it's like, Sting's not going to be out there, Punk and Darby both withered and beaten, 2.0, Daniel Garcia run out like a pack of dogs to kind of steal the moment, and there comes Daniel.
Who makes the save?
Yeah, exactly. White Knight, Daniel Bryan. You get Daniel, Darby, and Punk all standing in the middle of the ring. That seems like a pretty good way to put a cherry on the Sunday that has been this 60, 70 shows in Chicago in a 3-week period,
Oh, yeah. When I just pictured them going out on that, that camera shot in the ring with those guys, I mean, man, it made me happy.
Yeah, and Bill's Mafia STF saying Punk and Darby has to main event, essentially a super fight like the UFC does. Yeah, I think so. And here, I had another one here. Oh, yeah, we had Brian Bill saying kick off the show with Bryan. Now, you brought up this Andrade thing, and maybe I'm thinking about it wrong. Maybe it doesn't need to happen in the middle of the show. Maybe it is Andrade's the first man through the curtain. Pac is a coward, and you have Daniel Bryan, hotter. I don't know how much hotter you can start a show than if Daniel Bryan comes out, accepts, Andrade's challenge to kick off All Out, and then you end with Punk and Darby Allin later on, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that's a great possibility as well. As we're talking this out, it makes me realize that maybe there aren't so many possibilities. I think the things that we've discussed here are probably, yeah, you're right. We're going to get them either at the beginning or at the end. Yeah, see, we can have educated guesses too, Meltzer.
Yeah. Well, Alonzo Smith here saying, I'm still surprised that Daniel Bryan isn't returning to WWE, but I guess he wants to change the environment. Hopefully WWE doesn't shun Brie Bella over this because they've been known to be petty. Hey, Chrissy, I haven't talked to you since Nikki Bella put out the I got
just gonna say
what happened, Christy?
Oh, Nick, I think that our viewer might be onto something here for sure. Because the first thing that we've seen or known or heard about the Bellas since Daniel Bryan left now is that Total Bellas is likely done and that Nikki Bella was not allowed to go to SummerSlam. And I think that may have had something more to do with, I'm not sure if John Cena's wife was there. He winked at somebody in the crowd when he first came out. So I wonder if that was just John being like, hey guys, if Nikki doesn't need to be here, my wife's coming, whatever. But I think it may be indicative of a whole new attitude by WWE towards the whole Bella bunch. And that terrifies me too.
Their father-in-law is goddamn Johnny Ace, Christy. Like that's like, can you imagine Johnny Ace having to tell daughter-in-law, Nikki Bella, sorry, your ex has more sway than I do. You're not allowed in the building. And also, because, and again, we don't know that John had anything to do with it. It could be she just hit the tables, got lucky, whatever. But it smells like that. And I have said for a long time that I don't think that the whole Artem thing was a great way for that relationship to end. He seemed suspicious and she denied it. And then when they were done, she rode off on a goddamn motorcycle with Artem. Okay. And I would be pissed too, John. Just saying.
No, I feel inclined to detect my girl Nikki Bella's honor in this conversation. We really don't know. Okay, Nick, we don't know.
We don't know. We're just speculating. Horrible gossip, Nick Hausman. All right.
That's what we always say about you.
Horrible gossip, Nick Hausman. Davin, Bellas should make an appearance on Roads to the Top, you know.
Yes.
Right?
I would love that. Yes. Now they probably have, if Total Bellas is indeed over, there's probably a whole year after that on their contract where E can still pick them up. So timing wise, I'm not sure that could have happened. Maybe Roads to the Top season 2. Either way, I love that idea. And I'm so looking forward to that show. And because of all the people we're going to see on it and all the behind the scenes kind of juicy stuff that we haven't been getting now because we don't have Total Divas and Total Bellas, I'm in.
Yeah. And, you know, I don't want to go too far off on this because I've kind of said a lot. But, yeah, the Bellas would bring a lot to AEW's content game, right? Like they would find ways, especially if you got the Bellas and Renee Paquette working together on like some kind of shoulder content division. Holy hell, you blow that thing out.
Yeah, but I don't believe there's any possibility of the Bellas ever actually being under contract or doing anything with AEW. Their whole brand, their YouTube channel, Birdie B, everything that they have and do is partially owned by WWE, is signed off on by WWE. You can bet they're probably under a Fat Legends contract that they probably just signed. I'm sure it's good for 5 years or something like that. And I just really don't think we're going to see them popping up in any official way in AEW. But that's not to say that they couldn't. The only place I feel like they could end up on is Roads to the Top.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. There's a lot you could do with those two, the Bellas. And you're right. Yeah. Does WWE have a large investment, all this stuff? Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. At a certain point, you know, they've got a bunch of money. I don't know.
Yeah, but their YouTube channel, their clothing line, their everything is owned by WWE.
If you buy plane tickets, you go buy a nice dress, and you literally show up at the party and they turn you away, Christy. Do you want to stay friends with those people?
Well, no, of course not. But I'm just saying business-wise, contract-wise, they're so embedded. I don't think any other superstars before them have been that invested with WWE, with ventures, with making money, with everything, their name, their brand, everything they are and have had and have built. WWE has made sure that they have a hand in and control over. And that's kind of terrifying.
Yeah. All right. Well, as Jamie Williams says here, enough with the Bellas.
Oh, I hear that all the time. Okay, Jamie.
Hey,
We digress.
maybe on Tuesday they'll come back up. No show on Monday, by the way, Labor Day. Anyway, The Observer. One more AEW item before we get to a couple WWE items. The Observer saying Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy took on Jack Evans this past week on Dynamite, and he won with a small package roll-up. But the surprising part during the match was that Cassidy won during the picture-in-picture commercial break. The Observer saying this was done on purpose. The goal was to encourage fans to keep watching the show, even during the picture-in-picture break. However, it is not expected to be common, but this was done to send a message to fans that anything can happen at any time. And I remember being at Dynamite on Wednesday night and watching the match and following my socials, and somebody was like, wow, they did a pinfall picture-in-picture, and I showed that to the people around me, and we were all like, that's kind of weird, but cool.
Interesting choice.
Yeah, I dig it. I like stuff like this. Why not?
But is anyone watching TV like live anymore without DVR, not rewinding, fast forwarding? Like, I'm always fast forwarding through those commercials, and then I can go, oh wait, well, crap, he just won. Like, maybe fast forward and bring it back. Like,
but that's the thing. That's the thing is like being able to keep people engaged through those commercials and not wanting to fast forward or go back. I mean, that's an ad. You tell an advertiser you're actively making sure that their product is being watched through those commercial breaks. That's a big win for you. Absolutely. So I think it was just smart. I think it's cool. I like that kind of stuff. Whatever. Ringside News reporting that The Rock, kind of a follow-up, I guess, from several other reports here earlier in the week, not being considered for WrestleMania 38 because they have something in mind for him at WrestleMania 39 from the SoFi Stadium in Inglewood. Rock is said to be a virtual lock for when WrestleMania returns to Hollywood, LA area in 2023. So no Rock Reigns this time. We've got Lesnar in the mix. What do you think, Christy? Do they keep this belt on Roman for 2 straight years? Is he the pandemic champion? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah, I mean, why not? It's been working thus far. Also, isn't that what we're building up to? Like, how could they build him up any more? Or how could he continue to, grow and be the Roman Reigns? It's just by keeping that title, keeping it longer, having, more wins, more days, becoming the winningest champion ever. I do think that's a possibility. Also think of how they could really put somebody else over in the meantime if he loses it quick and then gets it back. There's a lot of play that can happen in 1 year from WrestleMania to WrestleMania. But it certainly seems like we can assume that we're going to get Brock and Roman next year, and then Rock and Roman the year after that. And it just makes you kind of realize how formulaic it all is, and that spoils it a bit for me, I guess. But I think that the programs are going to be so good that I'll wait for it. It's fine. I can wait.
I think the expectation that you think exactly what's going to happen is going to start to mess with people, right? Like they're going to start to throw little things at you to make you start to question, whether or not this is going to go the way you think it's going to go. I also wonder what's going on with Brock, right? Like he shows up at SummerSlam, but then they pivot to Balor. Like, are they really? I think Balor and him are is it tonight on SmackDown? They're going to do the title match. I don't think they're waiting to Extreme Rules. I think that's it. I'm not really sure, but really interesting to me that they didn't follow up on the Brock return with like more Brock, which you would think they're going to be getting. The fact they just do like this little tease where Brock like showed up and then he left. I wonder how long it is before we see Brock Lesnar again. If we're going to try to hold this thing out till Mania, which is like a long, long way away.
Yeah, but that means, how sporadically do we have to see him? I think the reaction to him coming back on Sunday kind of proved that we don't have to see him every week. I mean, how long has it been since we've seen him?
That's true. Alonzo Smith here saying Brock will take the Universal title from Roman and Saudi at Crown Jewel next month, putting Brock 3-1 against Roman.
Maybe.
Strange things happen in the Saudi desert with WWE. And I mean, Reigns and Lashley's title reigns coming to an end at Crown Jewel would not shock me one bit. And that's weird. Whatever.
No, but I think that could be the little moment, that they think could be easily kind of forgotten, that Roman could never really have to talk about, but it could be used for, a good business move there.
Yeah, and Ian McWilliams here, thank you, confirming, Roman versus Balor, that is tonight. That's what's going to be on. So at WrestleVotes reporting, sources to them say the day-to-day operation of NXT is not going to be changing drastically, and that it's still very much in the hands of Triple H, Shawn Michaels, William Regal, Matt Bloom, and others. It was also noted that the look of the weekly NXT TV produced will have a Vince & Co. stamp on it. Now, of course, the news of McMahon and Pritchard producing the weekly NXT shows led to hashtag RIP NXT trending worldwide over the last 24 hours.
Oh, I missed that. Sad.
I am WrestleVotes is interesting because like it is funny to me when certain stories come up that make aspects of the company that hardcore fans like get upset. WrestleVotes always kind of tamps those down, and like when it's main roster stuff, like WrestleVotes is like, yeah, Vince is shoving handfuls of money in Brock Lesnar's pockets in the back and telling him go murder Kofi Kingston. But if it's NXT, they're like, well, hey, I know everybody's saying this, but I remember it's not as bad as it sounds. Hunter is still there. Just a little odd to me. Something I'd like to point out about WrestleVotes. So.
Well, you're showing some true media literacy here, Nick, and I think we both have that because of the world that we live in. But if the whole world could look at the news and realize what are people's motivations and that the news is something that they need to convince people to consume as well. So, you're being looked at as what do they want us to tell you? I mean, I just want everybody to keep in mind what you just said for all the time, for all media and all news.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't know what game is being played here. It seems pretty obvious to me that Vince is like pissed. Look, here's the 20-second sizzle, all right? Vince is pissed at Hunter for succeeding. He is also pissed at Hunter for failing. And because of that, and because it's right. He's pissed at Hunter succeeded, and then he's pissed at Hunter failed. And because of this mix of emotions, Hunter is no longer in good graces, and Vince is now taking charge of things in a way that is a loss of power for Hunter. And that's the story. That's the sizzle right there.
And on top of that, we're going to make a silly new logo that looks like Nickelodeon from 1989 and just make everybody look silly AF and make your job even harder.
Yeah,
hey.
Yeah, Black Star Johnny Hex here with a super chat to let you know I don't like the new NXT logo. Ugh.
With you, Johnny.
We'll see. What's the new direction, right? Yeah, Nickelodeon styled hip hop, right? There you go.
Seriously, yeah. I mean, I love the idea that they have a real hip hop artist doing the song. I think they overlook sometimes the power of the music and how they could use that to get some mainstream attention. So I like that idea, but maybe this was just a little bit of a miss.
Yeah, DX Vex here saying in regards to Hunter, pretty much damned if you do, damned if you don't, and 8-Ball saying Paul Levesque to AEW. Hey. I started the show with that joke. All right. I do wonder, though, man, he's got hundreds of millions of dollars. He can do whatever he wants.
That's true. But, if we do ever see Triple H at AEW, that will solidify the conspiracy theory that Vince McMahon is at least a partial owner in AEW.
Hey, Adam Cole, I hear you're going to AEW. They do a really good job with using legends as managers. Can I do like Tully Blanchard thing for you?
Oh my God, if Cole and Triple H showed up at AEW together? What's the deal with Cole? When your contract runs out like that, you just don't sign another one? You don't have a 30-day or a 90-day or whatever, right?
He could be at All Out on Sunday. We could theoretically see Daniel Bryan, Adam Cole, Lana, Ruby Soho.
The idea. I'm sorry, what are they calling themselves now? Cassie and Jess?
The Inspiration.
The Inspiration. Oh my God, fingers crossed. And Lana, so much.
Yeah. So I think, there's a good chance. I think I'm gonna go ahead and say 4 new faces at AEW at All Out. I'm gonna say 4 because I feel
4.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about Bryan. I think that's a good one. Yeah. Definitely in the Casino Battle Royal. If not Ruby, Chelsea, and maybe both. Lana by Miro's side, I give a 60-40.
Yes. Right.
She doesn't need to be there. And then Adam Cole, I gave a 50-50 too. So I'm gonna say maybe 3. I'll say 3. I think 3 new faces at All Out.
Ooh, I'm gonna go big, Nick. I think we're gonna get more like 5 or 6. Like at least 5.
Wow.
I think they've been sitting on some people. I think for once there's some people who have been able to keep some stuff quiet. Like we might actually get some surprises.
Yeah, DX Vex, you're saying, what about Switchblade? Yeah, Jay White. But he was in Chicago for the last dance or the first dance, and I thought if they were going to use him, they would have used him then. So I don't know, maybe. Yeah. I really know what's going on with the New Japan relationship. Kojima, and then they took the title off Lance Archer. Like New Japan wanted their belt back. Weird.
Oh, I didn't think about it that way, that may indicate that there's some change in the relationship.
Yeah.
Ooh, I
Well,
didn't
I
think
don't.
about that.
Well, it is a little weird that like Moxley dropped the title to Archer, and then Archer had this great moment, and then kind of quietly at a New Japan show on the West Coast, not quietly, I mean it was on Fight or whatever, but in a not such visible way, drops the title to Tanahashi. I don't know. I mean, look, New Japan doesn't have to do any negotiating with Tony Khan now about when their IWGP United States Championship matches happen.
Well, that's true. But, maybe with what's happened with Pac for this event, maybe everybody's just thinking like, hey, we can't count on everybody being able to travel here for these huge events,
Yeah. Peter Conklin saying Miro keeps mentioning his wife in promos.
You guys, I'm going to totally lose my crap if she comes out with him. I'm going to be so excited. Remember when they was so over at WWE and they cut it off way too soon? And I had a conversation with her once about, kind of what goes over. She is such a freaking genius. And I think, he's great, but he could really use her right now. And you guys, I'm going to lose it. I'm going to be so excited.
Yeah. Peter Conklin asking Tessa Blanchard. I don't see it. I think Tessa's kind of DOA right now in the States.
Yeah.
BLK Knight 314 Cole debuts on Dynamite. So, I mean, you're going to have something to follow up the show with that you could kind of, I mean, that's what I wonder about. Like I say 3, cause it's like, man, can you blow through 5-6 names all in one night? That's a lot, Christy.
That's true. It's true. It's wishful thinking on my part, but you're right. They got to save someone for Dynamite and for Rampage.
Yeah, for sure.
That is true. That's a good point.
Well, while we were talking about we're talking about New Japan Pro Wrestling, we have a little update on WWE in Japan. Game Biz saying WWE Japan division is no more. WWE Japan GK division dissolved as of Thursday, yesterday, September 2nd. It was noted that all investors agreed to disbandment of the WWE Japan LLC division, which was revealed via public notice of dissolution in a government bulletin. WWE's return to Japan for 3 live events were nixed in July 2020 due to COVID. The WWE Japan website, social media accounts remain active, but those are likely just for branding and content for fans in Japan, not the actual company that promoted WWE events and expansion of the country. Now, there was talk of major WWE expansion in Japan as recent as 2020, with NXT Japan brand being rumored. It remains to be seen if that expansion has been nixed altogether or if they're continuing with it under the WWE International division that was revamped earlier this year, and I have to believe it's the latter at the end of this, Christy.
Well, yeah, and this whole the whole thing seemed like sort of a half-assed attempt, right? Because a few years ago, like back to 2017, 2018, it was all about WWE China, and they were going to build a performance center there, and there was going to be a whole brand in NXT China, and then all of a sudden, no, it was going to be WWE Japan, and we're going to build a PC there. And so I'm not surprised that now this whole thing has just sizzled out altogether. Of course, could be due to the fact the last couple of years, internationally, there's been some stuff going down all over the world, but maybe it's just that they kind of seem half-heartedly in that idea, right, of launching the brand in another country. I
think if there had been no pandemic, if we lived in an alternate timeline, I think we would have NXT Japan, India, and Mexico, like right now. I mean, they were there. They were there. They were there. They were ready to do this, right? They had all the pieces in place. It seemed like a given, right? And that's kind of why I feel like Vince is maybe pulling back on the NXT brand after Survivor Series with the intention that NXT is about to become this very different thing. Like he was going to be launching. It wasn't just supposed to be one brand. It was supposed to be like territories where you had wrestlers kind of moving in and out. Like the whole thing got torn up and shredded when the pandemic hit. So I look at this more as a temporary thing. When the world gets right, I think, they compiled all these other divisions into a sole international division. A lot of people lost their jobs over that. But when they get back to easily being able to travel internationally and can get back to that infrastructure, I think we'll get back to where they were. I think this is just a temporary thing right now, if I had to guess.
All right. Well, I think they're kind of an on to the next group. And maybe by the time that this could all go over again internationally, that there'll be something else that the carrot would have been dangled and they'll have their attention on. So I'm not sure I agree. DX Vex said the whole Japan division being taken down as part of just the cutting the fat that they've been doing. And I think you're probably right there. And that doesn't really bode well for it being brought back.
Well, I agree in the moment that it is a cutting the fat thing because there's no money to be made in Japan with WWE right now. I go back to if they had done the expansion, like the WWE Japan division existed with the idea that they were going to be setting up in Japan and doing regular business and training and building a PC and all this stuff. None of that's happening. There's no reason to have the division, right? Once things get back up to normal again, I think they bring back the division. It is cutting the fat right now because we don't need 12 guys sitting around in an office in Japan not doing anything or sitting at home in Japan paying them to be a part of this division. It does nothing for us. If the NXT Japan project had gone into an action and they'd had a PC up and running, and they were running shows in the Japanese market, and they were selling merchandise to the Japanese market, I don't know if they'd be breaking even, losing a little bit, making some profit, but I don't think that they would be being dissolved right now because they were actively in the process of being part of what is going to be a much larger money-making endeavor, I would think, for WWE.
Yeah, but just, unfortunately, by the time they get back to it, I think it'll just be too late, especially if the focus is being taken completely off of, live events and counting on that, which was their whole, business model before.
Real quick here before we get to this last item, and then we'll get to Alan and Taylor and we'll do the mailbag. Christopher Brown here saying them killing NXT Japan is a direct slap in the face of someone like Kairi Sane, who they sent over there to run NXT Japan after she was forced to retire. Vince, it's time for you to step the hell aside and let Hunter run things. Now, I don't know that Kairi was sent to run NXT Japan. I think she was just there as like an ambassador, right?
Yeah, Kairi is one of few people ever to say like, you know what, WWE, thank you. Bye, I'm good. Okay, thank you. Bye, I'm good. And they were like, no. And also in a very not WWE fashion, they were actually not just like, fine, go away. They were like, no, we really have to keep you. So let's give you this. You can be an ambassador and you can go live at home and live your life and do what you want to do. So that was my understanding of what happened there. But you're right, Christopher. What does she do now? And what happens to her contract? I assume.
And that's what I'm wondering because she did want to do like the Stardom event. I think they were just going to have her like appear or something, and WWE was like, no. And I'm pretty sure that has to do with Bushiroad owning Stardom now, and they've been under the same umbrella as New Japan Pro Wrestling. Was she working for the WWE Japan division with this dissolution? Is Kairi Sane like available to do other things? Was she under like a Legends type deal? I wasn't thinking about it before, but now I kind of want to know what happened with Kairi Sane and all of this,
That's a good question because, if she has been let out of her contract or will be soon, we can bet that you'll be hearing of her from her, that she's doing something or another, even if it's not wrestling. She is too big of a commodity to just sit around not getting any attention or opportunities. You know what I mean?
Yep. All right. Last item here. America First Policy Institute has announced that former WWE CEO Linda McMahon is their new chairman of the Center for the American Worker. McMahon also serves as the chairman of the board for AFPI. This is Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump. They're on the board of this. Last year there was the American First Pact, I think, or whatever it was. And then when Trump left office, then they launched this thing. And Jim Jordan was out there this morning saying Donald Trump's going to announce his presidential run for 2024 in the coming days. I only bring this up. It did a lot of traffic, but I only bring this up because, unfortunately, Christy, it looks like pro wrestling and politics are about to get a lot more intertwined again. It went away for a while, but it's back, Christy, and we all should get ready for tons of McMahon, Trump, Glenn Jacobs, whatever political nonsense, because there's going to be a lot of it here pretty soon, Christy.
As much as we wish that politics and pro wrestling could just get in the ring and duke it out, pro wrestling could reign supreme and we could never have to hear about politics again, you're right. It certainly seems they are more of a tag team. They're gunning for the championship, and
David, LOL, Linda O'Mac, voice of the worker. Yeah, I don't want to throw too much shade, but like, she gonna make the Amazon delivery drivers buy their own trucks now, right?
Oh, that's funny, Nick. I gotta commend her a teeny bit. She has always had her own career. She has never stopped. She has always wanted to be in politics and has taken whatever she could get in that regard. And they got the money to back her up and keep her going in it. And wow, she clearly is not going to stop her political aspirations.
All right. Well, thank you, Christy, for joining me at the top of the show to talk all the news today. Thank you to Alan Maldonado from Heels on Stars.
Oh, what's that?
Right there. That's my Heels on Stars hat. I went to my Duffy Wrestling League hat. Remember, I wore it last week. I wore it like this, right?
How could I forget?
Yes,
it was a whole new look.
It was. And thank you to Taylor Armstrong. 8-Bit Slammers over on Twitter. The NFTs are about to be auctioned off over at Master Republic. Awesome. I'm a big Pokemon nerd. He compared the NFTs thing to like Pokemon cards you would buy and then you put away, and then over time some of them will gain value, some of them that will be less valuable, but it's the Wild West. I'm glad I had the talk. I have a better idea of what an NFT is now, and I hope you do too. I really do.
Well, yeah, and if it's the kind of conversation that I can understand, if I was going to research NFTs and really want to find it out, I think I would have trouble finding a conversation that, uses words that I understand and all that. So, Nick, I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, he did say a lot of things up top that were very confusing to me. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to try to put these in layman's terms, and you tell me if what I'm saying is correct. And then we started getting to the real truth of NFTs, I felt.
Okay. Okay.
So today's poll question, at Wink Daily, first of all, WINC Daily over on Twitter. We're 1,230 followers. We're looking to hit 1,666 followers by Halloween. Ooh. So go give us a follow. Come help us channel Satan. At Wink Daily is the account to follow. Today's poll question comes from a comment Devon Dudley made on his podcast, Table Talk. By the way, what a great name for a podcast with the Dudley. So Devon said the following about the stiff Nia Jax and Charlotte match from Raw. He said, a lot of people suspect Nia and Charlotte got into it heavy. I even heard some reports that they were beating each other up in the back. Number one, they weren't beating each other up in the back. Something happened in the ring. They handled it the way they handled it, and they got over it. It's as simple as that. They got over it. Christy, what do you think? You believe Devon here? What do you think?
I think if anyone would have a great insight into what likely went down, it is Devon. And as far as them rumbling behind the scenes, I'm sure he's right. I'm sure that didn't happen. However, this seems to be the narrative with a lot of Nia's matches. So we could wonder, I wasn't there in the ring with them. Is this a narrative that she likes to keep spinning because it makes her look like a badass who doesn't give an F? Or is this something that is truly happening every time? And I could certainly think that a Charlotte Flair, as valuable as she is to WWE, is not going to stand for, and WWE is not going to stand for her, in the ring being abused by another performer. You know what I mean? Having someone act unsafe with Charlotte Flair, that's not allowed. So as much as I, and even being someone who's been around Nia a little bit, I and everyone else kind of want to assume no, this is Nia being a bitter jerk who finally got a match on TV and wanted to go out there and show everybody that she didn't give an F. She could kick even Charlotte Flair's ass for real. We all want to believe that, but whether it's true or not, I think it probably isn't.
Sean thinks it's a work, Waltman. I kind of think it was
another person who would know.
Right? I've had people close to me that usually know things be like, dude, that was not a work. And the fact I'm hearing it so dividedly is really fascinating. Nobody left with any bruises. Nobody left bloody. There was an altercation. I could believe that there was maybe one or two things there that did go awry that caused some friction, but I also do believe that they probably walked away. And look, both of them got to wake up the next day and realize we're going to make some money here. The next time we get together, there's so much more to this thing now. People want to see Nia and Charlotte. I have a fight.
But Nia can't use being too forceful in the ring or being unsafe with people and taking risks as her gimmick. That can't be a thing that you go out there and do so that people want to see more matches from you. That's not cool.
But I mean, like,
but again, if that's what was happening, it probably wouldn't be allowed. So what the hell do I know?
But again, it's
Nia
like
is a bitter person.
It's like, hey, Nia, you broke Becky's nose and she went on to, become a multimillionaire, right? Maybe if we go out there and you get work a little snug with me, make people think that you're trying to hurt me. Maybe I can get that sweet Becky Lynch money. I don't know. So,
I do honestly believe that Nia is kind of angry and thinks she's the best and thinks she should have more opportunities and wants to go out there and really actually kick Charlotte Flair's butt because she's jealous. I do honestly believe that. And I think there are a lot of people that believe that too. What a narrative to spin, man. This is dangerous territory for Nia.
I'm seeing here a couple people chiming in about with this idea throughout the show. Dave in saying, Nia to the bloodline, save the women's division, I don't think
it's working.
I don't think she's Anawahi proper, so I don't know that the bloodline is there, but she certainly would fit in with that group with individuals. I would prefer Naomi as like a badass gangster, in that spot, but whatever, to each his own. So the question today, based off of this altercation, what kind of a match, if these two women face off Extreme Rules, would you like to see? A tables match, a cage match, a fight pit match, or something else? Almost 500 votes here in an hour. 50.6% fight pit, 22.8 steel cage, 11.5 tables, and then 15% something else. If these two have a match, do you have any preference, Christy?
Oh, I thought fight pit was a great idea, Nick. These were some really good suggestions. And the second I read that, I was like, yes, just put them in there. And I think, of course, that's the idea too, right? Like we've seen tables matches. We've seen Charlotte even in a steel cage match. But I think the idea that these two really want to tear each other apart for real, I think the fight pit lends the best to that.
Wow, at 6 rings, 98.80. Nothing in the wrestling business I want to see less, and I sat through zombies. Dude, that's rough. I want to see these two. Who don't? California WZWA. Yeah, Lions Den, another version of that. Where's the one that really grabbed me? Obviously, we have Hamburger.
There's a lot of comments here.
I am shocked. At Drew 227, Texas Death Match. Grizzly Oaks first blood match. That would work. Nightmare 1976 strap match. I wish they hadn't just done one with old Elias and Jackson Riker, right? At It's Bergen, Brawl for All. At PWD official, exploded barbed wire death match. Oh, here's the one I liked. At Eric Romeo 401, buried alive match. Now, I like the buried alive match idea because we're already starting to use all these insider terms, right? They work themselves into a shoot. They're trying to bury each other, right? Now they're going to try to physically bury. I'm going to bury you this Sunday at the pay-per-view. I actually really like that because now you're really playing into hardcore internet wrestling stuff like that.
Right. The people who think they really know.
Yeah. You were shooting on me on Raw. Well, this Sunday, I'm going to bury you at the pay-per-view. I love it. I can't. I'm emotionally attached to it now. So, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, we see a fair share of comments here, too, of people who are just not there for any kind of Nia match. And again, man, I'm just thinking, like, if this is all legit and Nia went out there with this intention and now it's working and we're rewarding bad behavior. And I don't know. I guess it wouldn't be the first time we did that in the world of pro wrestling, would it now?
No, it would not. At Moeller Derek, Nia Jax is going to end up killing someone. Putting her in Extreme Rules match seems like a bad idea. And I mean, the Charlotte stuff never made me uncomfortable. The Rhea Ripley clothesline into the top rope, that made me uncomfortable. Rhea had no idea she was there, was not prepared for that fall, and that could have been bad. That was very, very dangerous.
I don't know exactly what you're referring to, but it sounds scary.
Yeah, well, earlier in the night, before the match between Charlotte and Nia was getting involved in the Rhea, Nikki Ash,
right,
Shayna Baszler stuff, and after the match, Nia got in the ring and hit a clothesline from behind on Rhea, and Rhea, fell throat first across the top rope. And if you go back and watch it, it's rough.
See, again, there has to be a reason why she keeps being allowed to do this. That it can't be real, but damn, sure seems real.
All right, lastly here, we'll take a question. This has nothing to do with Nia and Charlotte, but Miguel Algamir saying, thoughts on Sammy G versus Andrade and the open challenge. So Sammy Guevara maybe being the one. to accept Andrade's challenge. What do you think? Thoughts?
That's kind of wah for me, but that's just because I'm not a Sammy Guevara fan. I do think if you're AEW and you're looking at opening a card, a Sammy Guevara probably is not a bad choice. So I suppose that could be a possibility. It doesn't excite me.
All right. Well, hey, look, nice final thought there. AEW All Out is this weekend. I'm going to be on the ground at the Now Arena tonight for Rampage. We'll have full results on spoilers, dark match stuff. Maybe, I mean, Tony Khan came out and did like 4 off-screen segments just yelling. I kind of like Tony. Like, I don't have any issues, but can I do my Tony saying things impression real quick? Because he does.
Oh my God, please do.
Okay, 1 second.
Please do. I just know that this is going to be absolutely genius. And I hope that Tony sees this.
When Tony says things, he goes, "Yes. Yes. Moxley. Yes.
Oh, podcasters, if you're just listening right now, you really missed a gem there. That was hands down a great impression, Nick. I'm wondering maybe you would give up one of your questions during the scrum to just do that for Tony to get his reaction.
I'll ask him while I do it. I go, Tony, how did you feel about that main event between Punk and Darby Allin?
Please do.
Dave in.
Oh, Dave. Yep.
Hausman's backstage credentials are revoked.
If that happens, we'll know why. I do watch Raw, just in fast forward.
My sweet credentials. Okay, hey, it's all in good fun.
Hey, yeah.
We're all just having fun, right?
Unless you're in the ring with Nia Jax.
Oh, hey, yo. All right. So on that note, I am credentialed for the weekend. Outside of those shows, I'll be in the Media Scrum Pit Sunday night. We're hoping to live stream the Media Scrums, so you guys can watch them on all our platforms just like this. There will be no show on Monday, the day after All Out. It'll be a very late night for me. It's Labor Day. I'm taking the day off. We'll be back Tuesday. It'll be a 4-day week.
Well deserved. Enjoy it.
And then nothing next weekend. I'm throwing my phone into a lake. It'd be great. Also, if you like the Wrestling Inc. Daily, supportwrestlinginc.com. We're on all your socials, and the Wrestling Inc. podcast is just like the Daily, only at night, different people, but also available on all your podcast platforms. Christy, anything you want to plug for? Put over here to wrap up the show today?
Yes, Christy Reports All Access is now on Patreon. You can check it out at ChristyReportsAllAccess.com. And you guys, hit me up at Christy Reports anytime. Let me know what you think about everything that we have discussed today, because there was definitely some hot button topics and some fun things too. And I want to keep the conversation going with you all.
Keep it going, everybody. Yeah, and we are about a minute away from my Alan Maldonado interview debuting over on Wrestling's YouTube. Right after that, you're going to get to see Taylor Armstrong's NFT conversation with me, also on YouTube. So go check those out. I'm at Nick_Hausman over on Twitter. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I will talk to you Tuesday. And remember, if you winked, you didn't miss it.